Flight Financial. I'm Greg Kirkham from the Omaha. Actually, cut that. Sorry. Hey, everybody. I'm here with Brad Barton from Flight Financial. Brad, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, how did you get into finance? How did you get into the mortgage industry?
No, that's a good question. It actually is due to a back injury. I've been in sales a long time, straight out of high school. I was selling construction, kitchens, and countertops and stuff, and I had a back injury. Had a friend in the industry that's like, "Hey, come do mortgage refinances for about 3 months or whatever while you recover." And it was a temporary thing. I fell in love with it during that 90 days, and here 20 years later, I'm still doing it.
I
So
was going to say that short-term thing sure turned into a long-term career at this point. You formed
mhm.
Flight Financial. I know
Yep.
you came from another company and everything else, but how long have you been in business with Flight?
So Flight, we incorporated in October of 2023. So we're a little over 2 years now being in business as Flight Financial, and yeah, we're digging it.
Fantastic. So what do you guys specialize in? I know a lot of mortgage brokers will try to specialize in certain areas or they'll try to hyper focus in certain areas. What is your focus?
So basically, what we focus on, because we'll do all the regular standard FHA, VA, Freddie, Fannie stuff, but really our main thing that we focus on here, I'll actually tell you my business model because that kind of sums it up. So
Yeah.
the first rule when I started Flight Financial is I've got to be wholesale and I've got to have amazing pricing and lots of products for our borrowers. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we specialize mainly in helping people that maybe don't quite fit the box and maybe they're self employed or they have too many tax deductions, they can't show enough income, or maybe they haven't been in business long enough, or maybe they have citizenship issues or credit issues or whatever, right? So we help with not only making tough situations easier, but we also are creative and make even good situations better. So a lot of times people will come to us from other banks. Will not only make the pricing and the rate better, but the entire experience is faster. We've got a lot of automation. Our processing team is comprised of ex underwriters, so we underwrite every file before we even issue a pre-approval. We do commercial, residential, hard money, private finance, equipment lending. I mean, we do a lot of things here. It's not just the mortgage, so we try to think outside the box. The
Yeah.
second part of us is for the loan officers, and when I started Flight, I went to through my career, I didn't job hop, but I was never quite happy with any of the banks, lenders, or brokers that I was with. So
Mhm.
with an engineering background, I was able to write a lot of our software and keep our business expenses down. And I kind of accumulated everything I always wanted as a loan officer when I was working with other places. And Flight Financial was born from that. So I took away a lot of the limitations. Um, I'm big on compliance and everything. Everything we do is ran through legal and compliance and everything. But we have a great comp plan for our loan officers. We have a lot of tools and technology to help our loan officers and our referral partners. And so we have everything in place to really make it a good ecosystem for the loan officer for the process too. So those are the two kind of things that make us who we are.
Cool. Now, of course, you probably knew that this question was coming because there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of hesitation for people in purchasing homes and everything else right now, especially, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell somebody and our audience um, about purchasing a home right now? Like, what are some of the pros and cons?
Okay, so the timing of that question couldn't come at a better time. All right. So
I try. I do my best.
the there's a lot of misconceptions that it's a bad time to buy a house right now. Oh, rates are so high, price, we're about to have a crash, blah blah blah, whatever. So I actually teach classes on this every month, and we show the data in real time and like, what does the media make you believe? What does the government make you believe? Even on the positive stuff, a lot of things they like the 50-year mortgage thing that's coming out all over the news, right? Like I've talked to so many people that have called me about this 50-year mortgage, thinking, oh, my payment is going to be half of what it would be on a 30-year. And here's what I'm liking about this. Okay. The 50-year mortgage actually barely saves anybody money.
Yeah.
I love that they said that we have a 50-year now, because we do. But the cool thing is most people that want to buy a house right now, they have no idea how good it actually is, right? Or my paper just fell off the ceiling. So the prices are reasonable right now. The rates have come down from where they were a couple years ago. They're not in the threes like they were. But when I give people payment quotes right now,
Mhm.
they're blown away. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, are you serious? That's like $600 to $1,000 to some case $1,500 less per month than what I was thinking it was going to be." And with that being the case right now, it's a total buyer's market, and we have programs actually that help sellers too. One of our most popular programs is our buy before you sell. And what that does is we find, people have had their houses listed and they don't want to bring their price down. They're holding on to that price, right?
Yeah.
And our buy before you sell program allows us to give equity from the house they're going to sell as a down payment to buy the new home. And we remove the house from their debt ratio, and we have a way to cover their payments on it until it sells. And it's
Oh,
super
wow.
popular. And, the cool thing with that is we're trying to find ways in the market to get the word out, like, hey, it actually is a good market right now. It's one of the best markets I've ever seen in a 20-year career.
Oh, wow.
A year
Really?
ago, not so much. And a year from now, probably not as much. So that's what people don't understand is when the rates come down, okay, if they come down, they trickle down or they go down too fast or whatever, that will spark the media to say rates are down, now buy. When that happens, then it becomes competitive. Prices go up, right? Prices go up. The amount of buyers that are out there goes up. Getting concessions or sales price deductions or whatever from sellers that have had properties on the market for a while, that goes down.
Yeah.
This is a loaded question because I could literally teach a whole hour class on that question,
I've
which
been
I
there. I
will
know.
do if we have people that want to go to that class. And I'll show you
Mm.
the real data and the real numbers. There's no sales pitch in this. We can see like the price data, the rate data, what the payment would be. And right now with it being such a buyer's market, we're going in and sellers are offering us, we're wholesale and a la carte, so we don't charge origination or points unless the buyer wants to pay points. And the beautiful thing with that is we're competing with banks and lenders that do charge points. And so we go to a seller and say, hey, can we get some concessions to cover our closing costs? And a lot of times we have way more than what we need. So we'll do like temporary buy downs. 2-1 buy downs are really popular right now. Just a quick snip on that. We choose an interest rate for you, and for the first rate or the first year, your rate will be 2% lower for the first 12 months, and then 1% lower for the second 12 months. It's not a variable rate or anything. It's just a cool program that we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot of those right now.
Yeah. And
And
what's the one buy down? What is that?
what is the 2-1 buy down?
Yeah.
So it's called a temporary buy down. And a lot of people are familiar with paying points, which is what a buy down is. You buy the rate down, you pay points. That I'm not a huge fan of, especially in a market where we're most likely looking at rates trickling down over the next few years. In my mind, yes, you could pay several thousands of dollars when you buy a home and get a lower rate. But in my opinion, that's a waste of money because you don't ever get that back. Where 6 months from now, a year from now, we may be able to do a refinance for you to get that same rate for free, right?
Oh, okay.
And so a temporary buy down, the seller has to pay for it. It's one of these rare things where there's really no negative for anybody, okay? And the seller comes, the way that we actually make it work, we negotiate a sell price with the buyer and the seller that everybody's happy with, okay? So they can do like their price negotiating and whatnot. Then we take the cost to get the 2-1 buy down program, we add it onto the cost, and then ask for that amount of concessions. That's the
Mhm.
best way to approach that. And I've had a lot of success with that. And then the sellers are happy. The buyers are super stoked because even though we raise their price up a little bit, it's pennies compared to what they save. Our average savings for a 2-1 buy down right now is $650 a month
Oh,
right now.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
And what's on
crazy.
average right now? And so you were for the pay down, or the buy down, I should say, on the points. That's referring to the interest rate for anybody wondering on the home that they've qualified for.
Right. And so yeah, we choose the rate we use what we call the base rate. It's just whatever you qualify as a buyer based on your income, your credit, what type of loan program you're wanting. And then it's not really a fee to get the 2-1 buy down, because
Yeah.
that's your money placed in your escrow account, which subsidizes the savings. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
want to get too technical on here, but that's the buyer's money. So even though let's say, and I'm just making these numbers up. Okay, let's say it's a $10,000 2-1 buy down cost, and you
Yeah.
negotiated a price of $450. So then you could say, okay, let's raise it to $460, get an additional 10 back from the seller. That 10 goes into the borrower's escrow account. So it's the borrower's money. So it's still technically more in price, but it's placed aside. So it's like a reserve. And then
Okay.
every month that the payment is made, that reserve pays out that, $650 towards their payment. And then if you sell the home or you refinance before the 2 years is up, all that gets put back on the principal when we pay off the loan. So
Wow.
it's money that's, I don't know how to classify that, because it's not a fee, it's not an additional, it's kind of a cost, but not.
Yeah.
And the savings is crazy how awesome it is. And you can do that on a refinance too. So if you buy a home with a 2-1 buy down, and let's say the rates go down and you're like, hey, 6 months have gone by, because every loan we do here at Flight Financial, after you make 6 payments, you're eligible for rate reduction. So we also
Oh,
do a lot with credit road mapping. So wherever your credit score is, we try to get it as high as we can in the first 6 months, because then you are eligible for a rate reduction, and you can extend that buy down, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have 18 months left, for example, of the 2-1 buy down, we can extend it again for another 2 years, or, because we get the refund from the original one to pay for the new one. So we can kind of take it
Okay.
from the old, put it on the new. And yeah, and there's really no cons to that program. It's one of these rare, like, oh, that sounds good too good to be true. But I've been doing a ton of them. I was the second loan officer in the state of Utah to do this program back in 22 when they became popular.
Yeah.
And almost
The
every single
experiment.
transaction has one on it. What was that?
The experiment, right? You were an educated experiment.
Yep.
You
I mean,
knew
the
what
first
you
one, I
were
was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to give it a try.
you were working on it though.
Yep.
So okay, so say somebody has a credit score of like 650 and they really want to purchase the home. And I know we can't go into specifics. I don't want to, I don't want to.
I mean, I can kind of go into some scenario-based specifics, and I can't say who they are or any financial details, but I can give like scenarios of things that we've approved that other lenders haven't. Credit score with us really isn't a thing. I rarely have to decline any mortgage loans for credit score itself. The bigger issue is going to be the debt to income ratio. And 9 times out of 10, if we have any speed bumps or hiccups in the loan approval, it's going to be because of the debt to income ratio or the income history itself, which is one thing that we've built a lot of special programs for, to help. Sometimes we do a temporary loan to get somebody into a home,
Yeah.
and we roadmap them to get them back to a lower rate or a better loan program within the first 6 months.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's common. A scenario for that is, let's just say there's, I don't know, maybe there was a medical issue and you had a job gap. You were off the job for 6 months. And, a lot of banks require that if you have a 6-month gap of employment, you have to be on the job again for 6 months before you
Yeah.
are approved again. And, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, they have limitations like that, FHA and VA. And we have a lot of non-QM products and private funds. We've got all
What's
sorts
QM?
of capital. What was that?
What's QM?
So QM stands for qualified mortgage. What that means is that's everything that fits the Freddie, Fannie, FHA, VA
Oh,
box, like the
so the
credit score you
standard.
mentioned, debt to income ratio, the job history, everything. Everything just has to fit that Freddie, Fannie box. That's what we called an agency or a QM loan.
Okay.
And a non-QM just means there's something outside of that box. And so we use private finance. We use, a lot of our mainstream lenders are offering non-QM, and it's actually extremely popular now. The rates are almost exactly where the normal, the regular rates are.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
depending on how far we have to go out of QM,
Yeah.
will maybe influence the pricing a little bit, worse and worse. So,
Yeah.
for example, my main client is self-employed borrowers that they just don't show any income. Okay. Or maybe they haven't been in business long enough. And so we can use a P&L, 1099s. We can use bank statements, which are super popular. We do a ton
Oh, yeah.
of those where
The
we take,
deposit type,
yeah, we
right?
take
Where
the
you take
business deposits, right?
yeah.
So we see like, okay, here's 12 months of my business account. Here's all the deposits we made on the business. And we can use a certain percentage of those deposits as the income. Now the rate's a little bit higher, but honestly, it's getting to the point where it's only a little bit higher. I did a non-QM bank statement loan last month where the rate was actually lower than Freddie Fannie. It
What?
was a weird scenario, but we're starting to
Okay.
see that more and more.
Yeah, I
So
was gonna say, like, how did that happen? A non-qualified mortgage qualified for a lower rate than the qualified mortgage. There's something going on there,
and
I
I
think.
wish they named it. I wish they would rename it from qualified mortgage away from that term, because non-QM loans are actually becoming more popular than QM loans. They're like,
Yeah.
I have people that come to me, real life experience, borrower last month qualified for they actually qualified for non-QM and QM loans, but
Oh,
the tax returns that they had were really elaborate. They own a lot of businesses, and it would have been a lot more elaborate underwrite. And the
yeah.
rate was actually better in this case on the non-QM. And so we actually did what's called a DSCR loan, which is a cash flow based loan for an investment property. Okay,
Yeah.
so for example, let's say the payment on a home is $1,000, and let's say the rent you'll receive on that property is $2,000. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
200% or a 2.0 debt to income, debt service coverage ratio. And we don't even need income from a borrower on those loans because that's for that particular property. So if the cash flow on the if there's cash flow on the property, we can approve a loan just based on that alone. And it
Oh,
can be
wow.
1-to-1. It can even be lower than one in some cases. So let's say we're helping a borrower buy a fix and flip, and they're like, well, right now it's losing money, but we're gonna buy it, remodel it, and then put renters in there.
Yeah.
Moving forward, it's gonna cash flow. So we can actually do those loans based on the project,
The
right?
projected income of that based on probably some comparables, I imagine.
Yep, we
Probably
have
with some
comparables, and we do a lot of research on those. We actually do an appraisal that shows us what the rent would be,
oh,
and so it gives us the value and what the rent would be. And
wow.
we can do like 1 unit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter, all the way into the commercial space, because we also do commercial financing, hard money, and private funding. We do a lot of that too. So if we have something that's, let's say for an example, an investment property that's a 6 unit, that's
Yeah.
a gray area. We can treat that as a residential or a commercial. And yeah, we do projects that are big commercial buildings. We do first time home buyer. So we do a lot. Mhm.
Fantastic, my friend. Yeah. So how do people get in touch with you? How do they learn more about you?
So if you go to flightfinancial.com, go to our website. You can we have a whole menu of different products we have. You can meet us. You can call us and book appointments. And it's FLITE.
Yeah.
I'm a pilot, and I'm big in the aviation world. And FLIGHT was already taken, so I went with that one, right? And
Huge call out for whoever owns Flight Financial for the other way
well,
too, right?
there's actually no actual finance company about that. Somebody just owns the URL and they're holding it hostage. So I'm
That was smart.
trying to get it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Well,
mhm.
thank you so much for coming on the show today, Brad. It was great having you, my friend. If you'd like
Thank
to
you,
learn
sir.
more about Brad Barton and Flight Financial, go to flightfinancial.com.
Mhm.